Hey everybody, so now I want to do kind of a fun video, something that's interesting and fun to look at. And before everyone yells at me, I know the season's not even a month old, I know most teams haven't even played 10 games yet, but I still thought that this would be fun to do and interesting to look at and just see how things have worked out so far. So, I'm going to look at what the playoff matchups would be if the season ended today. They just stopped the rest of the season and started the playoffs right now. What would be the matchups? So in the East, we would have Tampa Bay versus Philadelphia. Tampa Bay would be the 1 seed. Philly is the second wild card. This would be a pretty good matchup. You have two high-powered offenses with teams that we don't really know about defensively. So I think Tampa would absolutely win the series, but it would be a really fun, interesting series to watch. Pittsburgh versus Columbus, Pittsburgh being the winner of the Metro and Columbus being the first wild card team. Rematch from last year's playoffs. I think this series would be better than last year's series was because I think Columbus is better this year than they were last year. These teams really don't like each other. There's definitely a rivalry there. There has been for a couple of years now. For them to meet in the playoffs again would be awesome. And that would happen if the season ended right now. Toronto versus Ottawa, another awesome series. This would be fantastic. Canadian rivals, division rivals. Ottawa went to the conference finals last year. Toronto is a really young powerhouse team rising up. That'd be an absolutely incredible series and really fun to watch. And then the final series would be two teams that I don't think anyone really expects to make the playoffs in real life, actually. The New Jersey Devils versus New York Islanders. That would be the 2-3 matchup from the Metro Division right now. That would be really interesting, but I don't think anyone thinks that they're going to stay in the playoffs. Certainly not where they are. They're probably going to drop as the season goes on. But if it ended right now, that would be the fourth matchup. Overall, I would not have a problem at all with if this was the East come playoff time. These would be some great series. I would absolutely love watching Pittsburgh versus Columbus. Tampa Bay versus Philly would be great. Toronto versus Ottawa. Probably wouldn't get to see much here in the States, but that would be huge in Canada. And New Jersey versus the Islanders would be a solid division series right there. So I think that would be really, really awesome. And I would have no problem with that if that were the playoffs. But we're only not even 10 games in, so that's probably not going to be the playoffs. Out west, right now you would have the LA Kings as the conference winners facing the second wildcard team, which is Nashville right now. Then you would have St. Louis versus Dallas. That would be a heck of a series. That's an awesome matchup. So is LA and Nashville, but they're not division rivals. They're not in the same division. But that doesn't mean it wouldn't be a great series. You'd have a team that went to the finals last year versus a team that missed the playoffs last year, and it would be the team that missed the playoffs in first place in the Stanley Cup finalists as the wild card. That would be really interesting. Be a heck of a series. St. Louis versus Dallas would be incredible. I hope they do meet in the playoffs this year. Two pretty tough teams, two teams that do not like each other, and that would be a very physical, long, and nasty series. My kind of hockey right there. Chicago versus Colorado. I don't think anyone expects Colorado to make the playoffs. They're a team that everyone thought would be near the bottom of the league. Right now, they're not. They're in third place in the Central Division, so they would get a meeting with Chicago in the first round. Chicago would probably destroy them. And finally, two more teams that no one thought would be anywhere close to the playoffs. Vegas and Vancouver. Both of those teams were supposed to be fighting for not finishing last in the entire NHL. Right now, they're both in the playoffs. they've both had great starts to the year, and that would be a heck of a thing to see both these teams make the playoffs, especially Vegas being an expansion team. It's not going to happen. So I'm sorry, but I think that by probably Christmas at the latest, Colorado, Vegas, and Vancouver will all be out of a playoff spot. But if the season ended right now, this would be the West. And some real surprises here. I think the LA Kings being in first place is a big surprise. Colorado, Vancouver, and Vegas all being in the playoffs is a huge surprise. Any one of them being in the playoffs is a huge surprise. So the East was a little more like, yeah, these are playoff teams for the most part. And then the West is just wild right now. So that's what would happen if the season ended right now. The season does not end right now, which is good for us, because as much as I love playoff hockey and want the playoffs to be here, I don't want to miss out on the rest of that regular season, because that would mean hockey is sooner to being over. I don't want hockey over anytime soon. So I just thought that'd be fun to do. I know that things are going to change drastically throughout the year, and we might not, by the end of the year, the matchups might not be any of these, but it will be interesting to go back and look at and see, hey, maybe, hey, look, back then it was Pittsburgh versus Columbus, and then in the playoffs come April, it's Pittsburgh versus Columbus. That'd be really cool. So, like, comment, share, subscribe, spread the word. We want this channel to grow. Thank you guys very much for watching, and talk to you guys again soon.